ahead and introduce our host of the day, or our guest, Tony Klein. Thank you so much for doing this for us. We have been following you. I know when you spoke a couple of years back in Vegas, it was like the best presentation I saw, like that entire conference. And I've been following you on Facebook. I know a lot of us have, and we are really excited to hear all the things social.
All right, thanks. Boy, putting on the pressure here a little bit. We'll see if we can live up to that. So here's what I'm hoping to do today. We're going to do a presentation, then we're going to open it up to questions and answers, because I really want to have some interaction and feel like y'all are getting some value out of it, not just hearing some information, but being able to ask some questions and figure out how to actually implement some of the things that we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen in just a moment, but one of the things that I'm not sure with this setup, when I share the screen, if I'll be able to see you guys or not, depending on how the host Zoom is set up. So if you are open to it, I really love to have you turn on your camera just so we can have some interactions. I'm going to ask you to raise your hand a couple of times just to get some feedback. And it's hard for me to see you raise your hand if your camera's not on. So if you're comfortable with that, I'd love to see you do that. I'm not going to ask you to come on to the presentation unless you have some questions at the end and you want to interact with us. Then I will obviously we'll be kind of talking one-on-one, because I'll be answering your questions. But let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to share my screen here. They told me that you sort of need to let people know who you are, do an introduction. So here's the introduction. I hope you guys like it. I'm Tony. Hey, everybody. But that's not actually who I am. That's my name. But here's who I am. I am an ultra runner. I run distances of 200 miles plus. This is me and my family at the finish line of the very first 200-mile race that I did. This is the Moab 240. It's my daughter, Michaela, my other daughter, Isabella, my wife, Pam. That's me after a very long few days. And that's my son, Cody, who is actually in the meeting with us. And I'll share some more information about him. He's Cody in the real world, and he's Cheesy online. So when we're working on our social media stuff, that's his brand that he goes by. This is one of my most proud moments or proud accomplishments. So in October of this last year, I finished what was called the Triple Crown of 200s. It's 3 200-mile races that takes place over a time span of about 2.5 months. And it's 654 miles in total. I think it says on there, it took me 276 hours of time from the time the clock started to the time the clock finished. And I was lucky enough to have a great coach, and with my efforts and his knowledge and skill, we were able to finish in the top 10 finishers of the Triple Crown. And then this is my dog, Moose. One of the things that I love doing almost as much or even more than just running on my own is running with my dog, Moose. And that's a much better picture of him. And he's so cute. Oh, so cute. And some of my other presentations, I give you guys like a lot more pictures. So if you're at the systems conference, you're going to get to see a lot more photos of Moose, because he's one of the favorite parts of my life. If I had another circle on here, there'd be a picture of nachos. If you followed me for a while, you know that that's what I love. I love nachos. So that's kind of the fun stuff. Here's the official stuff. We're going to go through this really quick. I am a 2-time past president of the Denver NARPM chapter. I was a president in 2014 and then again in 2019. I am a property management company owner, or I was. I recently sold my business. We were operating Home Vault Property Management. We were in 6 states, 7 markets. I have 23 years in the real estate and property management business. I have a YouTube channel, and this is kind of what plays into the social media. I have a YouTube channel with over 29,100.2 hours of watch time, and that was just from last night. So it may have been a little bit more. What that equates to is it's actually 1,746,072 minutes worth of watch time. And I now run, after selling my business on the property management side, I have a business called PM Success, where I help other property management entrepreneurs achieve success at a higher level. As part of that company, we have a brand called Social Success, and Cheesy is my brand partner on that. And so he's here to help answer some questions at the end of this. If you stay to the end of the presentation, we've got some free resources that we're going to provide for you to help make some of these things that we talk about a little bit more, just a little easier, give you a roadmap, kind of a plan. So that was kind of quick, but that's me. That's my professional side. You know a little bit of something, a little bit about me on the professional side, and you now know a little bit about me on the personal side. So hopefully, if we meet in person, we have something that we can discuss where we've sort of set a few key trigger points of topics that we can talk about. So what we're here to talk about today is using social media to grow your business. And a lot of times, one of the first things that I get questions about when we start talking about, I need to do social media, but I don't really know what that means. I don't really know how to get started. It just seems overcomplicated. And they start talking about what equipment I need. So I want you to know that you're not alone. When I first started doing social media, I ran out and I bought, this is like, by the time I had the package put together, there was like a $1,800 camera kit. And I thought, I'm going to get this professional setup. I've got this professional camera. I don't know how to use it except for to just put it on the auto thing and let it take auto pictures, but I didn't know how to use the rest of it. I bought a bunch of lenses and filters, didn't know how to use it, but I bought it because I thought that's what I needed. I went and got a green screen. I was using green screens for my videos. But then I was like, I don't really know, now that I have this video of me standing in front of this green screen, what do I do with it? How do I actually edit it? Like, so, and then I also went out and bought a DJI stabilizer so that I could stabilize the video. And I was all set. But then, well, let me tell you a story. So I want to tell you a story about when I was learning to drive. I turned 16, went down to, and back then, kids used to like want to get their driver's license. I know it's kind of changed a little bit. Like they'd rather just sit in the back seat and text. But for me, I was excited to get my driver's license. So I went down the very first day I could. I turned 16. I was going to have a big party. I was going to drive my friends around. It was going to be great. Except for, it turns out if you run a stop sign, even if it's obstructed, you still don't pass your test. So I didn't get to get my license that day. But the next day I went back, and this was the beauty. This was my very first car. This was the car that I got to drive. 1980 Chevy Citation. We called her the baked potato. And man, you look at that car now, you'd be like, I wouldn't be caught dead in that. But at the time where I was in my life, that was fantastic. It gave me freedom to do what I wanted to do. And so the point of this story is you probably already have everything you need. It's already in your pocket, right? So don't get caught up with all the fancy equipment that you could do along the way. All you need is this cell phone here. Now you can get there's these little microphones that are like Bluetooth that you can clip on to make the audio a little better. But honestly, find a window, go outside, pull out your cell phone and start recording. So we've talked about the equipment. We've covered that. There's no longer the excuse of I can't record videos because I don't have the right equipment. You've got the right equipment. Okay, so then let's talk about what's holding us back. So I hear two things when I'm talking to people about social media, about what holds them back from actually creating content. There's two things. These are the main two things. There's categories, but these are the main two things. I don't like the way I look or sound on camera. And I don't know what to say in my content. So those are the things we're going to focus on today. Okay, so let me break it down. Let's start with the way you look and sound on camera. I'm going to share something with you. It's probably going to shift your paradigm on everything that you think, but here's the thing. The camera doesn't add 10 pounds. The camera doesn't make you look 10 years older. The camera doesn't make your ears and nose look bigger. The camera doesn't make your teeth crooked. You have this image of yourself in your head where in reality, you may not like it. You may, but you may not like it. But the thing is, you're the only one that thinks you look different or sound different on camera. When somebody sees you on camera, you're the way that they look, or you are the way that you look to them, whether they see you in person or on camera, or the way you sound is the way you sound, whether you're on the phone or in person. So it's you that is different. It's not everybody else. It's not the camera. Everybody is going to see you be your authentic self on video. So it's just like us on this call. I asked you to turn your cameras on. I'm looking at you. You're looking at me. This is the way that we are. So let's kind of scrap this. I don't like the way I look or sound on camera. You may just not like the way you look or sound, but the camera or the videos or the content has absolutely nothing to do with the who you are, the type of content you can create. So that's the first one. You look or sound robotic. This is going to just come through practice. The more times you do something, the better you're going to get at it. I used to coach recreational basketball. I coached 30 seasons. We did year round. So it was about 10 years of my life. I coached kids at the YMCA and Gold Crown and some of the other organizations. But I used to tell them the first 100 times you do something is all practice. So get through those first 100 times as fast as possible. We want to break that barrier of those first 100 times. And once we've done something 100 times, all of a sudden I can be doing something else. It's kind of like driving to work or driving to the store or whatever. You can be driving and not even remember that you drove there because you were focused on something else. We want to get in that kind of repetition. All right. So now we've settled on the fact that who you are on camera and what you sound like and look like on camera is who you actually are. We've solved that. So now we're going to get into you don't know what to say. So this is my first interaction with you guys. Raise your hand if you've been in the business longer than, say, 3 days. If you've been in real estate or property management longer than 3 days. Okay. You have a story to tell. Oh, I forgot the Zoom will make your hand raised. If somebody can lower my hand, that would be great.
Tony, you're the host.
Oh, I'm the host. All right. Well, let me figure out how to do that then. All right, we're going to view that and we are going to, oh, we still have 2 people in the waiting room. We're going to admit
You
them.
can give the host back to me if you want. I didn't know if you needed that for your functionality on your side.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay.
Let me see.
I'm happy to take control back.
Can you do that or do I need to enable that for
You
you?
have to give it back to me.
All right.
You know how to do that?
I am figuring it out as we speak.
Gotta love technology, right, guys?
Yeah. Make host. All right. You're now the host. You're driving.
Oh, all right. Back to you.
Okay. Put my hand down. That's weird. If you would. Thank you. Okay. So if you've been in the business for longer than 3 days, you have a story to tell. Something has happened to you or that you know about. So there's some kind of content to talk about. Okay. So think about something that you've learned today, not necessarily in this session. I don't want to get that focused, but just you woke up today and there was something that you learned, something that you observed. So what's your passion? I've already talked about mine. Mine is running, spending days out in the woods and running through the days and nights, the sun, the rain. I could talk about that for days. And that's something that I know that Courtney, you had mentioned that you've followed me, you've heard my talks, you've seen my videos of my running, being out in the woods, taking a picture with me with a herd of elk in the background or whatever. We got to know each other because of that content. I wasn't constantly shoving business down your throat, the business content. So we got to know each other by mixing those types of content in, and we're going to get to that a little bit. So something to think about if you've been in the business for a little while, you've worked with clients or you've learned things that you wish you would have known 5 years ago. So what is it that you wish you would have known 5 years ago? There are people who are 5 years behind you on your journey that you could help out. And then I learned this from Gary Vee. Cheesy talks about this a lot. Document, don't create. I know a lot of us sit down and we're like, I got to create content. I got to figure out what is so brilliant on my mind today that I'm going to sit down and kind of script some stuff out and try to come up with something. And there is a time and a place for that, but there's also a time and a place for I'm waiting at a property, and I just want to take a picture of the property and put a caption over the top of it. I'm driving to the property and the roads are bad, or you drive by a school, and like there's just a ton of different things that you can document throughout your day that is interesting content. So think about that a lot. It's helped me reframe what it actually means to do social media. It doesn't have to be super polished, sit down and create something. It's more about how do we actually live our lives? Who are we? And we're going to mix in our business and personal lives. Okay, so we're going to talk about mixing in now the business and personal. So everybody knows what this guy does, right? And we can tell from the picture. I think we can tell from the picture. I can't tell how big it is on your screen, but this guy's a dentist. And he's kind of explaining a procedure, something that he's going to do for this young lady. And this is one type of content. But if we were constantly trying to, if we wanted to follow a dentist because our tooth's hurting and we think we might have to get a root canal, and we follow a dentist and all he ever does is pump out information about being a dentist. After a while, when I no longer have that need of being, getting my tooth fixed, I'm going to unfollow him. I don't need to be constantly hearing, like, dentists are not that exciting in and of themselves, right? Like, their practice. Same thing with this guy. He's an auto mechanic. And it's also the same with realtors or property managers. That content is exciting when you need it, but we don't always need a dentist. We don't always need a mechanic. We don't always need a realtor or a property manager. But when we need one, we want to know that we have a good one. We want to have one that we trust, that we have created some kind of bond with. And so that's where we mix in some of our passions. So, if you like to paint, you like to sing, you like to do music, like there's art that we can introduce into our social media. If you're into any kind of sports, if there are something that you just like to get outside and do some sort of recreation, there's that piece of it. And then, of course, because I love talking about running, I got to throw another picture in there. This was me finishing my first 50-mile trail race that I ever did. And I was super happy about that. And I spent a lot of time talking about the build up to it, the training in it, the weather, and then just kind of celebrating. And that became additional content. So I want to talk about, okay, I get it. I know I need to do some personal content. I need to do some business content. I need to start building relationships. I get it, but it doesn't really give me a roadmap. Like, how do I actually go about thinking about creating content to try to be proactive in creating content, as opposed to, oh, I got to put out a piece of content today because I got to stay relevant. So let's talk about content buckets. If I asked you all to name 100 foods, I said, just name 100 foods. You'd start naming the ones that are off the top of your head, and then pretty soon you'd kind of get to 30, maybe 40, and it would start getting difficult for you because you're thinking in this broad category of, I got to do content. And so what kind of content could I do? I got to name foods. What kind of foods could I name? So I want you to do something. I want you to pick 5 categories that you want to create content around. And you could do this on the business side and the personal side, but this is just going to help you break it down into different types of content. So let's break that 100 foods down into 5 categories. So the first one, fruits. Now, instead of just naming 100 foods, I'm getting really specific. Okay, what are all the fruits I know? What are all the fruits that I would want to talk about? What are the weird ones? What are the ones that are my favorites? What are the exotic ones that people that live around you have never even heard of? Same thing with vegetables. Now I'm going to start listing all the vegetables. Some of us know more vegetables than others. Some of us don't like green foods, like whatever. Like find the vegetables that you know. You can talk about the fact that you hate broccoli and what it doesn't like in this example, right? When we're naming the foods. Then there's meats, dairy, grains. But the exciting thing about that is now I've got 5 content buckets. I'm going to create a lot of different content in each one of those buckets. But where it gets interesting is where you start to combine different categories to start telling a story that match for all 3 of those categories. And I'm going to give you a great example of this with this. I'm going to take grains. So I'm going to take corn. Those make great chips. So I can take corn chips. Then I'm going to take my dairy. And, you know, you can take dairy, and if you do certain things to it, it turns into cheese. Then you can take some vegetables or fruits. I don't know, jalapenos, I guess, are whatever. We can take one of those 2 categories and create some jalapenos. And all of a sudden we got nachos, and I'm back talking about one of my favorite things. So it's not just about what can I talk about in each category, but how can I talk about things that are in those categories and combine those to create something fantastic. Okay. All right, I'm going to quickly hit the social media platforms because I think by now we've all heard of them, but I want to kind of talk about what you would do on each one of them. So Facebook is where all the grandpas and grandmas live. That's me. Like we're all on Facebook, right? Everybody, kids used to be on Facebook. We went there to see what they were doing and we chased them off. So like if you're looking for owners, clients, Cheesy's on here, he's on Facebook, but it's mostly because that's where clients are. He's kind of moved on to Instagram. Instagram is a platform where it's more about pictures and sharing videos, and it's more of just a snapshot. I've already talked about the YouTube channel that I have. I've got a YouTube channel that I have for business. I have a YouTube channel that I have for my running and my hobbies. And what's nice about YouTube, though, is YouTube is starting to push out. They have the YouTube long form, which is, I'll call it boomer layout. So it's the horizontal. And then there's the millennial layout, which is the more vertical. So you can do the boomer or horizontal long form videos. And then you can also create the short form videos. And short form are just like the reel, a Facebook reel or a TikTok. But what's nice about that is they then push people, same thing with Facebook on your short form videos, they push that in front of a new audience. They find people that match the audience you already have, and they push your content out to new people. So it's really important to serve the people that you have with your long form videos, but also take that long form and slice it up and do short form videos, because that is introduced to new people that don't already know you or aren't already in your audience. So Twitter is traditionally more of a text-based platform, although nowadays Twitter or X, people are sharing all different types of information. But Twitter is a great place to go to put something out, see what kind of traction it gets, what kind of interaction you get. And if you get good interaction with it, then you think, okay, this needs to become another piece of content, a video content, a photo, something like that. And then LinkedIn is really a great place. It's still very business focused. So it's a great place to connect with people on a more professional level. People just expect that LinkedIn is going to be that more professional. You can still share information about yourself, but it's perceived through a professional or a business lens. And then TikTok used to be Musical.ly, used to be just all for the kids. And all of a sudden, It's a huge platform that people are really starting to take advantage of. It's that short form video. They've got a lot of great tools to use to actually edit, and great music and content. So we've got TikTok. Bigger Pockets is something specific for real estate. So there are a lot of people that are doing real estate investment on there, and it's a great place to go post content, but also interact with people who have posted content. Be the expert on TikTok, answer their questions about property management. And then having your own blog is just a way to drive them back to yourself and have a platform that you own, because none of those other platforms do you actually own the content. They could disable your channel at any time. With a blog, if it's on your own website, you control that. So if you have questions about the social media platforms and what's more appropriate for each one, we'll definitely get that to the end. So let's talk a little bit about some of my favorite tools. I've got a couple of tools that I think we introduced Sarah to, CapCut at one point, and she's gone crazy with it. She does great, fantastic videos with it. But CapCut does a few things. Lets you do your video editing, so you can just take the videos with your phone. It's a really easy use your thumbs tool for editing. I don't know if any of you have tried to use like Adobe Premiere or something like that. It's super complicated to edit videos, but with CapCut, very, very simple. It's got filters. It does actually have a virtual green screen. So I could be recording myself, and the green screen, it would create a green screen behind me that then I could then layer that over another article, have a picture of a news article, have a picture of a house, something behind me. So it's really easy to do. You don't need all that equipment that I talked about in the beginning. It allows you to do captions. I wish I could remember the exact statistic, but I'm forgetting it at the moment. But it's amazing at how many people, when they're on social media, actually watch social media with the sound off. So if you haven't had captions put on your videos, and I know some of the platforms will put their automatic captions on there, but number one, they get it wrong, and number two, there's not a lot of color or transitions, and you want to constantly be updating your screen with having your captions fly out. So it's really great. It's automatic. They have templates on it that you can use. And then one of my favorite tools of it is, if you're just starting to use the tool, they have tutorials that will walk you through all of the different features on it, and they're video tutorials. So you don't have to try to learn it on your own. You just go and watch some of their tutorials based on what they're looking for, or what you're looking for. My other favorite tool that I have is Canva. And we signed up for Canva a long time ago, and I just never really explored it. And one of my team members, Vanessa, is on the call with us, and she's really gotten good at Canva creating. We do video editing in that as well, depending on the type of videos that we've got. But it's really good at creating memes. It's really good at taking a short form video and putting text over the top of it and allowing you to just create an image that you can post. They have a lot of available content that you can use and just quickly modify. It'll ask you, what are you creating? Are you creating it for YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok? And it'll give you the right format for it. And so it's very easy to use there. It's great for editing and adjusting photos. One of the things I'm really digging into right now with it is the AI powered photos. You can go in and tell it, I need a photo that looks like this. And I know there's some other tools out there like Midjourney, ChatGPT, if you're on the paid plan, Bing now on their AI, Bing Image Creator will do that. But this does it right inside of your Canva template. So you can be designing something and say, you know what, I need this, without having to leave the program. You come in and use that right inside there. So I've already mentioned the templates. And then I had shared with you all that we had some resources. So if you want to take your camera out, scan this QR code. What it'll do is it's going to ask you for your email address, but we will send you the top 213 topics that we came up with for being able to produce content. And we've put them into different buckets. There's more than 5 because we want you to be able to pick what 5 you like, but we've put them into an order where it makes sense. They're grouped, and it just helps you kind of come up with some things that you would put out for realtors and property managers. So I'm going to leave that up here for just a moment. Give everybody a chance to scan the QR if you're interested. You can also, if you don't have your camera handy, it's pmsuccess.com/topics. Takes you to the same place. Okay. Getting close to wrapping up here, but I want to tell you, I would really love it if I had enough of an impact today for you guys to engage in a challenge with me. So the challenge is you do 30 videos in 30 days. You post your first video today. Don't think about what it's going to be. You just post it today. Now, I'm going to give you some tips that are going to help make this possible for you, because you're going to be like, I might be able to do 30 videos in 30 days, but starting today, I don't like the shirt I have on. I don't know what I'm going to post, whatever. It's really just about getting you comfortable in front of the camera. We talked about getting through the first 100 times as fast as possible. I want you to be able to do that. So we're going to just start today. The content itself doesn't matter. Now, here is a pro tip for you. We have a Facebook group that's just called Social Success. It's a very, very small group. There's probably 20, 25 people in it. And the people that are in there are people that have been through one of our groups before, where we've done some group training, group coaching, or people who we've invited in one-on-one. And it's a place where they go, where they post content, and you can go and you can post content. And it's in this little small environment that the other people in that group are doing the same things that you're doing. So it's not being seen by the whole world. It's a private group. Now, here's the bonus tip. If even that is too uncomfortable for you, you can go into Facebook and create your own group and just don't invite any other members into it. So it's a one-person group, and it's a place for you to post your content, where you're posting content. It's being seen by you, nobody else, but you can then track your 30 and 30 progress. Okay? So if you do it and you put it in somewhere that's public, it'd be great if you guys did the Nova 30 and 30, and you put that as a hashtag on your content. And if you do that, if you finish your 30 and 30, what Cheesy and I will do is you can reach out to us and schedule a 1-hour meeting with us, and we'll do some one-on-ones and help you actually put together a content. I'm not pitching that as a sales thing. There's no additional anything required. It's just, I love to see people be successful. And if I can get you through those first 30 days, now we've got something to work with, and we can do some additional coaching on that. So we'll give you a coaching session on that. So here's the Facebook group. If you want to join our private group, again, it's very small. So don't feel like if you join it that you're going to be judged by a bunch of people. The other people that are in there are people who have done this as well. So a lot of information, a lot of content. Hopefully that was helpful for you. I'll leave this up for 10 more seconds so that if anybody wants to scan it, they can. I don't know. That was probably 10 seconds, right? I think so. All right. That's what I've got for you guys today. Tiffany, Courtney, Sarah, I'll let you guys kind of take over and run it from here. If you want to open it up to questions, or if you guys have other content that you need to cover for your meeting. I just really appreciate the opportunity to come and be here with you guys. And I'd love to see what you put out. If you do put out some content, or when you do, let me reframe that. When you put out some content, tag me in the comments. I'd love to see what you guys put together. And with that, that's my presentation.
Thank you so much, Tony. That was fantastic. One thing I was thinking is, you know, I had been to NARPM events before, and I think the reason why your presentation stood out to me was it wasn't about property management. Like we continue, you know, we sit there for days on end and we listen to this person speak and that person speak. And the reason why it was so like captivating was, again, it was a personal story. So I think that's what really like, the bell kind of went off for me today. And so content doesn't need to just be property management related. It needs to be like personal, and it would probably be more engaging that way. So.
Yeah, thank you for that feedback. I think it's really important that people get to know us. It used to be, I remember back 10 years ago, people were talking about, you got to have your professional page and you got to separate that from your business. And that could not be more wrong today. People do business with people. They may do business with a business, but they do business with people because they know, like, and trust them. And to be honest, when I'm at these conferences, this may sound maybe arrogant or cocky. I don't mean it to be, but I have people that come up to me at these conferences all the time that they act like we're old friends. And it's because they've seen me online so much that they have a connection with me already. And so then when we meet in person, we build on that connection. But they didn't build that connection with me simply because I kept cramming property management content down their throat. I mixed it in, but they became somebody that knew me on a personal level and a business level. And I wanted to include this in my presentation and I forgot. I apologize. I wish I would have included it on the right slide, but I want to make sure I say it today. People don't teach or create content because they're experts. They are perceived as experts because they teach and create content. So it's really important that I put that in there. Just imagine it on one of those fancy slides. But
Does anybody have questions for Tony while he's still graciously giving us his time? Randy?
Yes, hi, Tony.
hey, Randy.
Can you just repeat that, please?
Sure.
What
Yeah.
you just said. Thank you.
Yeah. People aren't experts. What was it? Cheesy, help me out. Okay. People don't teach or create content. Here it is. People don't teach or create content because they're experts. They are perceived as experts because they create content and they teach.
Don't
Did we
worry,
get it?
Randy, we recorded it. We got the first round and the second round.
All right. I'm pretty sure that was it. I'm pretty sure it was a jumbled mess in my mind, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. But yeah, it's recorded, so we'll get that. But thanks for that
We
question.
can use one of those fancy tools to cut out just that piece and put a short form out on the social channels, right?
I have a question, Tony. For the videos, do you focus more on like videos in your feed versus your story?
That's a great question. I think stories have a big impact. If I had to say one of the areas that I'm stronger in or weaker in, I'm not as strong as posting stories as I should be, as I could be. And one of the reasons for that is I'm just so busy. If I'm creating a piece of content, I kind of want it to last a while. But stories are for that quick, I'm sharing a picture or a video. I wish if I had an area that I would really like to improve, it is putting out more stories because it puts you in front of people more. It's a quick 10-second thing. So it's not a long thing, but it's the repetition. I think I can't remember what book it was, but they were talking about in order to build rapport, people need, it's in a book called The Key Person of Influence, KPI. And I know KPIs mean something else too, but this was Key Person of Influence. And they talked about people need to, before they do business with you or before they start to respect or follow you, they need to see you in multiple different settings, multiple different environments, and they need to see you a certain number of times. And so the stories accelerate that because they're able to see you on their screen more often, even if they don't interact or they don't spend a lot of time with your content. It's just putting you in front of them. There was a comment from Patty. Hi, Patty. So the question was, how many hours a week do I spend doing content? Or how much time am I personally spending per week on social? Creating it or consuming it? Unfortunately, I have a bad habit of consuming more content than I should, but creating content, I don't know, hour to 3 hours a week, because you're capturing it, and then whatever I'm capturing, I don't overthink it. I'm just capturing and putting something out. If I'm out on a run or a walk, that's a post. It's just sharing stuff about my life. So, yeah, and I wouldn't focus on, I have to create 3 hours of videos this week. It's what do I have time to do? And let's utilize that time. I'd rather you put out 3 videos that are, yeah, okay, I saw your stuff, versus 1 video that's just fantastic. Because the algorithms are going to figure out what content to put. You know, I get a lot of questions about when's the best time to post, and what if I overpost? What if I share 4 things in one day? The algorithm, Facebook actually tracks over 100,000 pieces of information about you. And, you know, if you're having a hard time getting your head around, like, I don't even have 100,000 pieces of information about me, you do. The people you hang out with, and who they hang out with, the times you're on social media, the things that you talk about, the things that you ask Siri about. So it tracks all of these things. It's way smarter than we are in content delivery. So as when it comes to, should I post today or tomorrow or at 10 in the morning or 8 at night? Yes. The answer is yes. Just post, create content. The systems are designed to keep you on the platform so that they can put advertising in front of you so that they can make money. So they're going to figure out who to put your content in front of that are going to appreciate the most so that they stay on the platform. Eric Williams says, thank you. Great presentation. Have to run. I love to run too. So when this is over, maybe I'm going to do that too.
Did you see Randy's question? He says, while running your long distances, do you think about property management? Or when working in property management, do you think about running?
Yes, both. So I use my running as time to listen to a lot of audiobooks, a lot of podcasts. You can actually, if you have the YouTube Premium, you can actually download YouTube videos to your phone and listen to videos, and either watch them or listen to them while you're doing something else. So I kind of use that time while I'm running as my university and where I'm learning more things. I very rarely listen to music, only if I need a pick me up, and it's once a month maybe. But I use that as an opportunity to continue my education in the things I'm working on.
I don't know if I could share just a little bit of a experience that I had and I learned from the little class that I took from Tony last year and Cheesy. But when you're creating content, it surprised me how many people in my sphere watched it, never liked it, never commented on it, but when they meet you in person, they talk to you about it. I was like, wow, okay, you connected with that one random video that I had. And I'm like, I'm glad I produced that, because then that made us connect. You know, that it's the connections that you're making, whether it's real estate sales or whether it's property management, it's those connections that you can get there quicker. You can get their trust quicker just by creating like random content. And also the other thing is, some people, at least in the class, was like, you know, is there a time when I should be deleting these photos because they're no longer relevant? No, never delete your content, because people will go back and look at your whole TikTok profile and your whole YouTube page. They're going to go and scroll through your videos, and that will add more minutes of watch time and everything. Just simple things. On average, as far as like my video content that I've done, it takes about 30 minutes or less of time to edit a video or multiple videos that equate to anywhere between 30 seconds to 1 minute. If it's a longer video, like a 3-minute video, that will take sometimes upwards of an hour, depending on how many like cool things and cuts that I have to make and how many takes I've had to do on a single video. Because you don't just get it right once if you want to produce some educational content. Sometimes you have to script it, you have to recite it, you have to say it multiple times before it actually comes out like it's natural. So like those are some of the things that I've learned, at least along the way, in taking and doing editing. But don't be afraid also to try all of the scary platforms. So if you're scared of like Instagram, or if you're scared of TikTok, this is one thing that I had to overcome. Is like, I was so nervous to post on TikTok. I was so nervous because I'm like, oh, this is like really out there, because TikTok's something that I watch a lot of, right? I jumped in, and I think it's so much fun, even with their templates, to do with my kids and everything. I think it is so much fun. And I have a whole nother different audience on TikTok than I do on Facebook. Different people completely. So, and then the part about like knowing and trusting people, there are so many people like Tony, like in this industry, that I follow now, that I meet them in person and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm your best friend. I love you. I follow you all the time. And you become like supporters of each other. So there's even other real estate agents that I follow, and I love their video content. I love just the random, hey, I did a walkthrough today and this is what I found. I love those little tidbits because you're not alone. So yeah. Anyways, that's my little soapbox. But yes, Patty, I see your comment. Remember what you post is you can't like get it back, kind of a thing. Yes, absolutely.
You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube.
No, but you can tell more stories about the toothpaste that's no longer in the tube. So if it's out there, let it go. Yeah, cheesy.
Hi, I don't want to take up other people's time. Can you see me?
Yep.
Okay, cool. You were just giving kind of a weird face, and I was like, oh, maybe I'm not working or whatever.
That's just my face, bro. That's my face.
Yeah, I know. I should be used to it by now. But no, I just I don't want to take up more time. I just think Tony hit some great points with content buckets and when you should post, and like, why does it matter, or does it matter? It doesn't, because another way of looking at it is you're planting seeds. Right now, you have no idea what works. And maybe that's a little scary, but that also should be more encouraging, because that means you can do whatever you want. You can do a video about this. You can write a post about this. You could post a picture about this, and whatever. You're just planting different seeds, and some trees grow faster than others. And you might have like a little sprout that just stays there for a while. And you made a video 2-3 months ago, all of a sudden starts gaining traction for no reason. And that tree is bigger than the rest. You just have no idea what people are going to like. Or, you could create your Spielberg or Picasso and spend a lot of time creating this wonderful piece of content for no one to see it or interact with it. And that's going to, it's not going to feel great, but you just have to keep going. You just got to create. It's not really create, it's documenting. And I know we say create because that's just like the verb you use to just get started, but you just document anything and everything. And I'm so proud of Sarah and her journey and what she's learned and all the tools that she's been using. And it obviously has helped out a lot. It's something that she loves talking about. We've had a lot of interactions together, just talking content. And when it comes to social media, I know there's people that are like, I don't know. Social media is just, it's a lot of poison and it's a bad space. And true, it can be. But there also can be a lot of good that comes out of it, but you wouldn't know until you just start posting, until you start getting your name out there and seeing the people that you can surround yourself with.
All right, great feedback. I think we were trying to end on the hour. I think if we end 30 seconds ago, we're right on time. So turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Tony, so much again for joining us. And thank you everyone for tuning in virtually to our first Nova NARPM meeting for 2024.